Hi, my name is Will the Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about the somewhat different way of leveling in my game. So in my game, there technically is no leveling, per se. You don't really have a level that indicates the amount of strength you have, and instead you have other kinds of levels that indicate other kinds of things. So you're probably curious as to what exactly I mean by that. Well, you see, instead of, let's say, leveling from levels 1 to 50, instead what you do is each time you create a new class, you go through a single-player campaign all the way up until the end of the single-player campaign, which is considered, I suppose, the max level. While you're doing the single-player campaign, you'll be learning new skills, how to use them, and how to combo them together. Since my game is going to act more like a slow-paced fighting game, knowing your class is what's going to give you real power. Knowing your abilities and how to combo them is what's going to define the best players. Thus, the single-player campaign is going to act a lot like Portal did, where basically the whole thing is one giant tutorial. The single-player campaign will also help to flesh out the story and put the RPG back in MMORPG. I really want players to feel connected to their class and really understand what it means to be playing that specific class. So then you might ask yourself, well, where's the leveling? Where's the character progression that is common in most MMOs? And I'm getting to it. So while you're not going to have a static level, you will have 4 different types of leveling systems. There will be skill levels, prestige levels, honor levels, and renown levels. Skill levels are as simple as they sound. It's the level of your skills. In order to level your skills, you're going to have to train them, which basically means to use them. Each time you use one of your skills or one of your combos, you'll gain experience in those moves. The benefit of leveling your skills is that they become either more powerful, gain added effects, or will have new combos attached to them. This will be your primary quote-unquote level up system, which will determine how strong your character is. In reality, however, the skill system is only really there to teach players to use all of their skills. It won't take very long to actually unlock and learn all of your skills and combos, meaning most players will have them fairly quickly. And seeing how important it is to your just general strength level, it's probably going to be the first thing most players do. I'd say all in all, it probably is only going to take about 10 hours to level up all of your skills and combos to the max level. Just enough time to grind the motions into most people's muscle memory. The next type of leveling system you're going to have is considered the prestige system. Prestige is essentially the combination of all your PvE accomplishments, otherwise your player versus environment accomplishments. Prestige can be gained in the following ways: completing main story quests or side quests after the completion of the single-player campaign, completing hunting requests, doing hunting log entries, doing daily quests, leveling up a profession, and other miscellaneous tasks. Main story quests are the story that continues after the completion of the single-player campaign. These story quests will usually involve or surround the current expansion of the game that you're in. It will focus on new enemies, new bosses, new characters, and it will guide you through the ever-developing story of the main game. Side quests, however, can be done at any time and have random objectives. They may tell a side story that's not necessarily part of the main story, but will give you more insight into a certain aspect of life. Main story quests and side quests are going to be few and far between. This is because I want them all to be voice acted. I feel like this gives more of a sense of immersion than just a text-based quest will. Then you have your daily quests. This will be determined from expansion to expansion, but will generally come after the completion of all main story quests within a certain expansion. However, unlike most daily quests, which are the same thing over and over, I want to have my daily quests be randomly generated based on what the war effort needs. Does this town need defending from monsters? Well, go to this specific town and defend this specific people. Or does this area need help pushing the monsters back into their territory? Go join the offensive and attack their monster hideouts, etc., etc. The next way is to do hunting requests, which are found on hunting boards at inns. Basically, a hunting request is go here, kill this monster, bring back X amount of its body parts for us to process. Once you hunt down the monster, you bring back the body parts they requested to the person who requested them. You'll be picking up the quest at the end, but you'll be returning it to the person who requested it. This will be generally closer to where you'll be hunting the animal. Next is completing entries in your hunting log. A hunting log is very simple. It's very similar to a hunting quest where you go here and kill X number of this. The more you fill out a hunting log, the more damage you do to that specific creature that you kill. On top of that, you learn more about the creature the more you hunt them, increasing the amount of drops you get from them, since what the monster is going to be dropping is going to be various body parts. If you watched my crafting video, you'd know that monsters don't drop simple gold or silver. Instead, looting monsters will give you their body parts, which can be used to craft different things. However, sometimes these body parts can be quote-unquote damaged, rendering them useless, similar to gray items. That means the more knowledge you have about the monster, the more body parts you're going to be effectively able to collect, thus making farming of those monsters more valuable. So anyways, the hunting log will work in a way where you start off doing, let's say, kill 3 of these. Then it'll progress to kill 10 of these, then 25, then 50, then 100, then 500, then 1,000. And 1,000 will be the last one, and it'll give you the highest perks. And each stage of this that you complete will give you a little bit more and more prestige. And this is only for small monsters. Larger monsters that take a lot more effort to kill might only have like kill 3 of these, kill 5 of these, kill 10 of these, etc., etc. When you get to dragon hunting, you'll understand why that's a lot. Filling out your hunting log is going to give players a lot to do, as well as giving them somewhere to practice their abilities. And the last major way to gain prestige is to level up your professions. See my crafting video to learn how to do that. So that about covers it for prestige, so let's talk about honor. Honor is the opposite of prestige, being the PvP element of the game. Honor can be gained in the following ways: defeating enemies in world PvP, defeating people in duels, defeating other teams in the arena, and achieving victory in historical battles. I'll talk about duels first, since they give the least amount of honor. A duel is just as you'd expect it to be in most other games. You walk up to a player and you challenge them to a duel. Once they are challenged, you place a bet of honor. So you say bet, let's say 10 honor points. Whoever wins the duel gains those 10 honor points, and the other one loses those 10 honor points. In terms of honor, this is very, very little. But it's also a fun way to play against your friends. You can also bet nothing if you want to. I suppose you'd say the second least fastest way to get honor is going to be world PvP. These kills are usually made in massive siege battles or outganking other players, etc., etc. Killing other players this way grants just a little bit more honor than defeating your friends in duels. Generally speaking, however, these are also going to be against much, much larger groups of people. That being said, you're probably going to get a lot more honor than dueling. However, as I stated, this is not exactly the fastest way to gain honor. The second best way of gaining honor is to fight in historical battles. In a lot of MMOs, there is a battleground system where you get to play games like capture the flag and, take the objective, etc., etc. Historical battles will act very similar to this, with the exception of it being very specific objectives. Being historical battles means that there's only going to be one clear victor. So you might ask, if one person is supposed to win every time, how does the other team win? Basically, the losing side has to complete whatever objectives the original losers completed. Let's say at a certain siege, the defenders were outnumbered 10-1 and were slaughtered to the last man. If you're playing on the side that lost, you have to hold out as long as they did. Or another example might be a massive land battle. Let's say the losing side burnt an entire village before the defenders could push them from the field. The quote-unquote losing side that was pushed from the field technically secured their objective in burning the town. So then the objective of the attackers would be to burn the town, while the objectives of the defenders would be to push them off before they could. All of these battles would be based around objective-based PvP, rather than just wanton slaughter for the most part. Although I probably will have 1 or 2 historical battles that are simply a bloody mess fight. Anyways, the last and most proficient way of gaining honor is to fight in the arena. Arena battles consist of teams of multiple sizes: 2v2, 3v3, 5v5, and 10v10. 2v2s giving the least amount of honor, while 10v10s give the most. Arena fights will consist of players fighting to the death in an arena that is meant to be an obstacle and a death trap. Walls will push them into spike pits, flames will come out of the ground, spinning blades will try and chop them in half. The arena is trying to kill you just as much as the players are. Fighting in the arena gives you high prestige points, however, winning consecutively in the arena gives you much, much more. You will be ranked based on your success in the arena. The higher ranking you get, the higher ranking players you will fight against. The higher you go up the ladder, the more difficult opponents you're going to fight, and the bigger the honor multiplier that you will receive for defeating them. This basically covers all the ways to gain honor, but then the one question you're probably asking, what's the point of doing either of these things? Well, prestige and honor separately will unlock different things. The higher your prestige, the higher your nobility ranking will rise. The higher your honor, the higher your military ranking will rise. Unlocking a high level of prestige will unlock specific specialty vendors, will give you access to more different types of clothing, will give you furniture for your house, and will upgrade the equipment you can use on your farm. High prestige levels will be necessary in order to purchase certain things that you're going to need for your progression towards the end game. These levels are monitored by your nobility ranking, and thus will mean that you naturally will have to climb the nobility if you want to go really far within the end game of PvE content. This is going to be quote-unquote the grind. This is where that all-famous MMO grinding is going to come in, where you need to grind monsters and different PvE objectives to level through the system so that you can get even higher and get even better armor and get even better things and have all the best stuff in the game. Now what about honor then? What does honor get you? Well, honor unlocks your military titles, which unlocks various different equipment for you to use. PvP gear is locked behind the honor grind, which means if you want to have the best gear for PvPing, you're gonna have to do the honor grind, whether you like it or not. Now, PvP gear does not necessarily have a PvP stat, which basically makes you stronger against other players and them weaker to you. Instead of that system, which World of Warcraft and other MMOs have used, I opt to just give them more stats that are useful for that specific class in PvP. This can either mean more health, attack speed, movement speed, casting speed, whatever is going to really help your specific class PvP better. PvP gear is designed to give you an advantage over PvE players with PvE gear. While PvE gear might focus on raw power, PvP gear will essentially give you cooldown reduction on like counters or movement speed to get you away or in closer, or just basically buff anything that's going to give you an advantage against other players. This basically means that you're still going to need to outplay the PvE players, but you're going to have all the tools necessary and more of them. For players who really want to focus on PvP and fighting other players, this is basically a dream come true. So, what does this all amount to? Well, it amounts to Renown. Renown is essentially going to be your quote-unquote level. Your Renown level will appear next to your character's name and will give people a general idea on how much you play that character. Overall Renown goes from levels 1 to 50, but you don't need to do literally everything in the game to hit that level. You could never PvP once and still hit Renown level 50. Alternatively, you could never PvE once, though that would be extremely difficult, and still hit level 50. Renown is essentially how grandiose your total list of achievements actually is. Achieving level 50 would be a pretty impressive feat. Also, your Renown level nets you a few rewards. This could mean getting a discount at a shop, or unlocking a secret area that only people of certain renown can go to, unlocking specialty vendors, or giving you the added bonus of scaring the crap out of your enemies. That being said, attaining level 50 will actually be quite a big grind for your character. And technically, you don't really receive any statistical benefits from doing so. Both a level 1 and a level 50 renowned character are going to have the exact same stats. And I think that is a very important point for game balance. If every class starts with the same stats, it makes balancing them much, much easier. And that's all I really have to talk about today on my quote-unquote leveling system. If you have any questions concerning this topic, just leave it in the comments and I'll answer it when I can. But for today, this is Will the Gamer, signing out.